All right. Excellent. So yeah, like I say, it's good to see everyone. We've got 5 of our student athletes here, representing all of our class years with the exception of our first years. And we do have swimmers and divers in this session for our athletes corner this evening. So let's just jump right into it. First thing I'd like to do is have our athletes who are here introduce themselves. So Marissa, you can go first, Emma second, then Cam, then Eric, and then Ari. And what I'd like you to share is your name, where you're from, your class year, what you're studying at Tufts. Are you a swimmer or diver? If you're a swimmer, what do you swim? And then any other organizations, clubs, activities that you're involved with on campus. So Marissa, we're going to let you kick it off.
Hi, my name's Marissa Chow. I am a junior, so class of 2024 from Connecticut. I am a biopsych major on the pre-med track, and I'm a swimmer. And for organizations, I'm part of Tufts Student Athlete Advisory Committee. I'm on Project Share, which is like kind of a more so public health club that's very specialized in certain areas. And I'm also part of the Tufts Doctors for Borders Club.
Awesome. Thanks, Marissa. Good to have you here. Emma, you're up.
Hi, my name is Emma. I am a sophomore from Summit, New Jersey. I am studying electrical engineering and I am a swimmer. I swim mostly IM and breaststroke, but I like to do some freestyle. And I am also a part of ATO, which is a co-ed fraternity on campus.
Great. Thanks, Emma. All right, Cam.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cameron. I am from Long Island, New York. I'm also a sophomore. I am majoring in computer science and I'm a diver. In terms of organizations, I was an eco rep the past 2 semesters. I'm the director of projects for the Tufts National Student Data Corps. I was a pre-orientation leader for FIT, and I'm also a member of ATO with Emma.
Awesome. Thanks, Cam. Hey, Eric, tell us about yourself.
Hi, guys. My name is Eric. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Fairfax, Virginia. I'm studying environmental engineering. I'm a swimmer. I mainly swim backstroke. And in terms of other things I'm involved with on campus, I was also a FIT leader with Cam, and then also an eco rep as well.
Great. Thanks, Eric. And Ari, our senior.
Hi, guys. I'm Ariana. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, a senior, as Coach said. I've been studying community health and child studies here. I'm a diver. And then in terms of other organizations, I've been involved in a bunch of random things throughout my time here, but currently I'm the president of a local sorority on Tufts campus. And I've been involved in that for a few years. And I've also been involved in other clubs like a student-run cooking magazine, March, which is a maternal health advocacy and research club, and Athletes of Color, and Jumbo Ross, which is like a cultural dance group.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks, Ari. Thanks all for being here. Really appreciate you spending time with us tonight. So let's just jump in to some of the questions. We're going to get started with some questions about school, sport, life balance. Most of our recruits are interested in better understanding how you balance everything that you do at Tufts. You all are involved in your sport, you're all involved in, your studies, and then you're all involved in organizations as well. So first questions to Marissa. How's your experience been learning the balance of college academics, athletics, and social life? Does it get easier or harder as you move through your years and advance in your coursework? Speaking a little bit more about our arts and sciences school.
Okay, so for the academics, athletics, and social life, I would definitely say it gets a little easier. as your years move on, especially if you're pre-med, you have to do all of your hard science classes typically like around your junior year. They all have to be done for the most part. So you kind of get those all out of the way, and then your junior and senior year, you have a lot more specified classes towards your major. So it gets definitely a little easier once you learn, and by then you'll be on the team for a few years. It's definitely a little bit of a struggle, I would say, first semester freshman year, but you have a lot of people around you to really support you with trying to get into the groove of trying to balance at least athletics and academics, and then social life kind of just comes along with that. I know as the team, a lot of us like to study together or like get lunch and dinner together. So in terms of social life, it kind of just fits right in. And academics, like I said, upperclassmen always tend to help a lot. So some of the bigger classes, you'll have a lot of upperclassmen in it. So sometimes you can go to their house and study, or you'll be in some of the big buildings around campus. Like there's recently added the Cumming Center, and a lot of us like to go to the science and engineering complex to study and do work. And then from then you can all walk to practice together if you have the same practice, or you can all walk from practice to class together if it's like a big lecture class. So I would say it definitely gets a lot easier just in terms of once you get older, you kind of know more how to organize everything. But at the same time, when or if you're ever struggling through it, you always have a lot of people around you to really help support and kind of show you the ropes.
Awesome. Thanks, Marissa. Kind of Emma, can you touch a little bit on maybe how it's similar being an engineer, or maybe how it's different being an engineer and working on that balance?
Yeah, I would say that like the academic athletic balance gets a little bit harder as you progress. So I think that's like the difference, because your classes definitely get way heavier and your course load increases a lot from freshman year. I think that maybe is the difference between like the arts and sciences school versus the engineering school, because your heavier classes are later and you're doing kind of like some intro classes. But definitely like my freshman year, and I'm a sophomore now, so like both of these years I've relied heavily on my upperclassmen who have taken these classes or similar classes, and they really helped me like time manage and like kind of sort out my day, so I'm not like super stressed out at the end of the day, or like to make sure I eat and like go to sleep and like all of those good things. So I think it's just all about time management and like managing your stress, because if you want to study engineering, you'll be fine. Like you got it. You just got to be motivated and you got to be able to time manage.
Nice. Absolutely. Thanks, Emma. And Cam, you're a diver, so your schedule's a little bit different. You're a computer science guy, and you have experiences, School of Arts and Sciences, School of Engineering. I mean, what are the differences being a diver trying to manage it? What are the differences pursuing something like computer science, where, engineering, computer science, and arts and sciences, computer science have some commonality, but they also have differences?
So to start off, I just want to add a little bit onto what Emma said, because I'm in computer science and engineering school. I would say for certain majors, it depends if it gets easier or harder. I would say some majors, it's kind of like a bump. The middle 2 years are really, really hard because you're taking like intro classes, which is like lab classes, with some of your intro to like major classes, which can get really difficult. And then your last year can be just a couple classes depending on the major you're in. And I would say the major differences between engineering and arts and science, computer science, is engineering is a lot more math heavy, and arts and science is a bit more diverse. And so if math really isn't your thing, arts and science, you'll be able to do just a couple math classes and you can get away with a really great degree. The benefit of doing engineering is that, I mean, if math is your thing, that's a great route to go. But at the same time, you get to pick your classes first, so which means any electives that you find interesting, you can probably get them before the arts and science kids. And the degree is a bit more rigid because you have a bit more requirements for your major in order to graduate. And that can be kind of adjusted a little bit if you have AP credits, but overall it's a bit more rigid than arts and science in general. And just talking about my perspective as a diver, as opposed to the swimming schedule, we have practices at MIT because we don't have a 3-meter. So we have a little bit of extra travel time when it comes to practices. So sometimes night classes will conflict with practice, and you can try your best to avoid those night practices, or sorry, those night classes, or you'll have to miss practice that day. Unfortunately, the coaches are very understanding though, because we are a bit limited. And just like as Emma said, really just scheduling everything in your day will be very useful. I schedule meals, I schedule time to do homework throughout the day. But yeah, if you're able to do that, everything else kind of falls in line, and you'll still have a very fun experience because the team is just really supportive in anything that you do.
Thanks, Cam. And if the three of you don't mind, talking about that it is challenging and harder at different points and the transition is hard, would you mind just sharing, in this is personal and it's okay if you don't want to, but just your grade point averages, because you guys are doing, phenomenal at Tufts, in my opinion. And if you don't mind sharing, I don't know if that's too personal to share with each other, but we're in a smaller group. So I know you all said it was hard, but I guess I want these prospective student athletes to know that you're also really, really successful at what you're doing. So you can give me a range, you can give me exact, I don't care.
I don't mind sharing. Mine, I'm pretty sure it's like a 3.7 something right now. I've had some very bad semesters and some excellent semesters, so I'm out there.
It's awesome. Anybody else willing to share?
I think mine is around like a 3.7, 3.8. And if I'm gonna be honest, I totally failed my first exam in the chem version of biochem last year, but the teachers are very understanding and like they'll sit down and meet with you whenever they can, like no matter how often you have to meet, and they'll listen to you, like your worries, and they'll try to like help you through anything that you're confused about.
It's great. That's great. Anybody else or no? You guys are good.
Yeah, I think for my first year, mine was like 3.8 something, but I don't know about this semester, coach.
Oh boy. All right, Eric.
I think I have like a 3.9 right now, but yeah, that's all.
Yeah, it's awesome, Emma.
After my first year, I had 3.85, but like Eric, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from y'all is it ebbs and flows. The faculty are supportive. They want you to do well, and they want you to graduate with a great GPA, as long as you're willing to put the work in. And sometimes it takes a little bit of extra work.
Yeah, also if I can add, Coach, Emma and Cam are excellent students and very good with time management. I honestly am probably the worst. Like I still haven't finished a final that's due in about an hour, but it's almost done. I only have to submit it. It's okay.
Good.
But
About to say you're on the call with us. I'm gonna get in trouble.
no worries. But some of my professors have like shown me a lot of resources through Tufts that I wouldn't have found otherwise, like a time management coach, which they have through the academic, or I don't know what the STAR standard stands for, but like through the school. And those kinds of things are really so helpful in getting things done and being able to be a student and be an athlete and do like all the fun stuff I want to do outside of both of those things. So it is possible if you're like me, who's a procrastinator, you can do it all, I promise.
Nice. No, those are great points. Thanks for bringing up the resource side, because there are a ton of resources here for our athletes and all the students at Tufts. Cool. Jumping into kind of our next few questions here. This is a little bit more like why Tufts, a little bit about the D3 experience. First question is headed towards Eric. Eric, did you always plan to swim in college? What led you to Tufts? Division III program versus say Division II or Division I program? What do you feel like makes the D3 experience special?
Yeah, so with me, I didn't make the decision that I like wanted to swim in college till pretty late. I think it was around like junior spring that I finally was like, okay, like this is something that I want to do. So when I was like looking at my various options for schools, I was a little hesitant on like the D1 side because I didn't want to have to like make the sacrifice to like potential sacrifice to like academics or like social life in order to like still swim fast. And I think what really drew me to Tufts is that like I feel like I can get the best of both worlds, or best of like all worlds with all of that. Because with like D3, like, and especially Tufts, like I feel like I can still succeed, like I can still reach like my peak performance in the sport, but I'm not like sacrificing anything along like sacrificing anything like in order to gain that. And like after I had committed, like some of my thoughts were like, oh, like I'm like going to a D3 school, am I not going to be able to swim as fast? Like, am I going to peak? But like so far I've had like a great experience throughout my first 2 years, and I feel like I haven't had to make like any, like I said, like any sacrifices in order to get that. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Eric. So I'm gonna kind of follow up on that. How does your college swim experience compare to kind of family, high school teammates who might have gone to different schools, or even just your observation making that transition, whether it be as competing or just as a student?
So my club team, like a lot of my friends ended up going to like bigger D1 schools to swim. And like we all left high school like really loving swimming. And then like sometimes like when you go to like a really big school or like a D1 program, it sometimes feels like a job to swim. And sometimes like you lose like why you're swimming, because it feels like you're kind of being forced to do like a lot of stuff. And I feel like going like a smaller D3 like route like really just like lets you love swimming and lets you like have it all, really, because you don't have to sacrifice academics. You can pursue all other interests like clubs, other things that everyone else listed. I just think that it makes it so much better to like realize like why you swim. Like I feel like Tufts does that so well, and like makes you love swimming even more than when you did coming in. So I think that's something that like makes Tufts special as a swim team. And I think that's not something that you find everywhere. And I think that's like super, super special and super important.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Emma. I guess kind of along those lines, would either of you just share like what the biggest transition was from an athletic standpoint, like from your club to the Tufts team? Maybe it's training environment. Was it an easy transition? Was it a harder transition for you? I guess Eric or Emma or both of you, if you just have a few thoughts on that.
I think from a training perspective, my club team did like a lot of like distance freestyle, and we never did like stroke oriented sets. So I never really specialized until I got here. But I thought the transition was like it went really well, and like I love training in a different way. Like I love doing stroke, and I think that the yardage goes down a little bit, but I think the garbage yardage that sometimes you get at club swim kind of goes away, and you get to like focus on things you really like to focus on. And from like a training environment perspective, the training environment at Tufts is awesome. Like my club team was just not like that, and it's just so uplifting to have everyone like cheering for you and like supporting you during practice. It's very motivating, and that's definitely something that was different than my club team.
Yeah, similar to what Emma was saying about the whole garbage yardage thing. I feel like in high school and like even before that, like the practices really had to fit like a whole general set of needs, whereas in college you get like a little bit more like personalized attention, and like you're able to train in your specific groups. And so I think in that sense, like since you're doing more of what you need, it almost makes it feel easier in a sense. But you're still able to get like the same results, and you're just able to train in like a more efficient way, which has been really nice.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. So looking at living in a little bit about the social experience, this question's for Cameron. Do team members live in the dorms with other swimmers and divers most commonly? Is it most common for people to live on or off campus? Could you talk a little bit about the housing situation at Tufts and what your experience has been with it?
Yeah, sure. So in your first year, you might or might not live with swimmers and divers. You, as an athlete, can opt into athlete housing, and you will be paired with a roommate based on what you selected. So if you selected athlete housing, you will be matched with any athlete of that year. So in my first year, I was matched with a basketball player, and we both had a double together. And that was honestly a lot of fun. I think they do a pretty good job with the roommate surveys to put people you're compatible with. And then we had some people in our year also that were paired together, swimmers that were paired together, and swimmers and divers, which is cool. And then your second year, you're able to then pick who you want to live with based on like group lotto numbers and that type of stuff. I'm living with 2 swimmers this year in a triple, which has been a lot of fun. They're like 2 of my closest friends. And the next year, I mean, you're required to live on campus your first 2 years. It's just a Tufts requirement. After that, it gets a little bit different. Tufts doesn't guarantee the housing after that. So you have to kind of weigh your options if you want to try to stay on campus or live off campus. But it is like part of the team culture to kind of pass down the houses that everyone has. And next year, me, Eric, Emma, all like have places now that we're really excited, so we can, host like movie nights and that stuff for the team and just have like a good time. So yeah, I mean, your first 2 years you're required, and then your last 2 years, it's typically always off campus. That's just the way the team usually is.
Awesome. Thanks, Cam. Y'all kind of mentioned that you're involved in other clubs and organizations. This question is directed at Eric. I think by sharing a little bit about yourselves, you already answered it, but the question is, do most team members participate in other clubs and organizations, or just swim and dive?
Yeah, so as coach mentioned and how we had talked about before, I think like all of us here like are involved with other things on campus, but I feel like that's also like personal preference, and it's also not a requirement. Like there are plenty of people on the team who choose to just have like swim and academics be their thing, and it's like it's perfectly fine. It's not like you're missing out or like not doing enough if you're not getting involved. And for me personally, my freshman year, I like, besides swim and school, like I wasn't really doing anything else on campus. Like I wasn't involved in like any clubs or other organizations, and I think that was like a good way for me to like transition into the college environment. And so I sort of had like the swim team as my only thing, and I really like got to grow through that. And then this year, like since I had gone through all that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to branch out, like try some new things. And so that has been super helpful for me, because I've been able to like branch out and meet new people outside of the swim team, and also like do something that like I'm really passionate about and I enjoy. So I think it comes down to personal preference. Like you don't have to be involved in other things, but it's also just like a great way to meet new people and be involved. And it's not like something that you can't do since you're an athlete. Like you have time, like you'll have time to do other things around campus besides just like homework and swimming or diving.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Eric. Do any of you, I mean, Ari, you've been involved in a lot of different organizations. Eric alluded to kind of some of the value. He talked about the value that it's added to his experience. Do you have anything you might want to add with regard to how those experiences, in addition to your, academic degree pursuit and your athletic experience, how those other clubs, organizations have contributed to your overall, like maybe personal growth, or what sort of value it's added to your college experience?
Yeah, I will say kind of similar to how like your stress level changes by semester. That has also been the same with the clubs I'm in because of what I have time to do. So I was most involved with clubs and activities during COVID, like when swimming wasn't really happening. And I was involved a lot, and that was really fun. And then um, once we kind of got back to normal, I kind of cut out a bunch of things. So in that way, like that really filled the gap that swimming was for me and allowed it to be like a bit of a social outlet and like learn new things. Some clubs I've been involved in are a little bit more like research focused and more fitting with my major, but others I've joined just for fun. And the one I've been involved in most heavily is my sorority, which I really love. I've learned a lot about myself through that just because I've taken on a bunch of leadership roles. And I think that's something really exciting that happens at Tufts too, is that it's very accessible to take on leadership positions within clubs. So I think that's a big part of what I've taken away from that. I also think that the social aspect is really cool. Obviously, I love the team so much, but especially during COVID, I thought it was really important to branch out and meet new people, and that was a really accessible way to do that. Um, I think that's it.
Great.
It's been a good way. Like I've learned a lot about myself through that. I've also found that like it's not always necessary to do everything, but it helps you kind of see other sides of Tufts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to know that adds depth to your college experience, but doesn't take away from your ability to swim or dive really well, or do great work in the classroom. So Marissa, would you mind sharing a little bit about what the training looks like for you and for our team in the off season, when we're out of season over the summer? I know, the preseason when we first get to school looks a little bit different than say the postseason, and the summer is pretty unique to each individual, but you've been through it a few times now. Would you mind talking a little bit about what that looks like, how that's been for you?
Yeah, for sure. Also, we have a 5-month-old corgi downstairs, so if you hear any barking, it would be the 5-month-old corgi. But basically postseason, there's a lot of captain's practices or coaches will write a set, send them out. It's pretty flexible. I would say a majority of teammates typically take like a few weeks, a week or two, just to rest after championship season. It's kind of much needed, especially when they're like 3-4 day meets. But people join the club water polo team because they swim before they play water polo. So postseason, a lot of it is just kind of grabbing your friends and teammates. You can be like, oh, hey, like, do you want to go to the pool at this time? And then you kind of like coordinate like what time like you want to swim or what time you want to lift together. Or there's also captain's practices that happen as well. People typically kind of stay going to the same start time as our normal practices do in season. So I feel like you're always bound to run into someone during postseason, no matter what, at the pool or during lift. And then I would say during the summer, last summer, I was a little unfortunate because I had to get into like my work. I had like research at 8 a.m. So I would have to wake up at like 6, leave the house by 7. And a lot of us kind of had more long commutes in the junior class, I would say. So some of us didn't really get to swim in the mornings, but there was a coach and alumni. So Mary Larita was an alumni, or is an alumni in Carl. They ran swim practices in the morning for a group of people to go if they wanted to before internships or work. And additionally to that, there's a Harvard swim program that's also open that a decent amount of Tufts swimmers went to. And everyone carpools or takes the tea together, and I'm pretty sure it starts at maybe 6 or 7 in the morning.
It's pretty
Um,
early, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's 2 hours long. And then I would say typically a lot of the pre-med students, a lot of us worked at Tufts Med this summer. So a lot of people who could go in later, they would go to the Harvard swim program and then all carpool to Tufts Med together, which is really nice. For those of us who had to go in a little earlier or had internships that like were a little further away and had to commute a lot, we were fortunately able to swim in the afternoon when we got back from work. So Coach Nori, she would keep the pool open for us after lessons, and we were able to get in and swim during that time. Oh, and also a lot of people do cross training too. I know like 3 seniors, I'm pretty sure did a half Ironman and trained for that, which I think is super cool, and I honestly personally could never do that, but a lot of people take up running or kind of other more cardio exercises to stay in shape, and the weight room here is open a decent amount of time during the summer.
Yeah, Marissa, could you just quickly kind of go over what our preseason schedule looks like with weights and swim practice?
Yeah, so preseason, typically swim practices, they start they're technically captain's practices, but everyone definitely tries and makes an effort to try to make as many as they can. So the typical start times are 8:30 or 8:15, and then 1:30 and 3:30. I think those are all the times. And then typically they start for an hour and they gradually get longer as we get closer to season. And for men, lifts are typically Monday, Wednesday mornings from 7 to 8, and then women's lifts are typically Tuesday, Thursday mornings. Definitely in season. Preseason, not really sure on Tuesday lifts, but there's definitely Thursday lifts in the morning. And yeah, so it's pretty structured for the most part, but at the same time, you're definitely able to have that flexibility during preseason to adjust to your classes, especially as a freshman. So it's not mandatory that you go to all of them because they're captain's practices, but at the same time, I feel like the team culture makes you really want to try to go to all of those practices to like better yourself, but also like spend time with your teammates and kind of get like a good study break and for your mental health.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Marissa. Definitely there's a year-round focus on training, but it really flexes with our different athletes' needs and kind of making sure they're fulfilling their needs in their mind, their body, and their soul to be, you know, amazing swimmers and divers and be the best they can possibly be. So looking at our team culture a bit, we're going to rip through some questions here. I'd ask you to try to be concise when I ask you of them, but some of these questions might be a little bit tougher to be concise. Ari, can you talk a little bit maybe about what the team dynamic is like, and you know, with your experience being a diver on the team, what the connection is between the divers and the swimmers?
Yeah. I feel like I've had to summarize the
Uh-oh. Ari froze. Cam, you want to jump in on this
Sure.
question? You want me to repeat the question?
It's team dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh, sorry.
sorry. Art, do you want to continue? You kind of cut out for a second.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Oh.
But
We'll let Cam take this one, Ari.
okay.
All good.
So sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I would describe the team dynamic as very fluid. Everything just feels easy. I don't feel like a lot of times that like I'm like labeled a diver, so like I'm always with the divers or something like that. I mean, it just goes to show like I'm rooming with 2 swimmers this year. a lot of my closest friends are swimmers, but at the same time, like Ari knows, like us divers have a lot of fun together. Everything is just really easy to get along with everyone. Everyone's really looking to meet people and, you know, establish connections when they first get here. So the moment you get here, you decide, like people decide, you know, I want to meet this person and get to know them. It's always just a really fun time. And it's such a big team that when there's like so many different circles of people that you meet, and you have like different inside jokes with everyone. It's just a lot of fun to have different relationship dynamics with so many different people, and then it just adds a whole different spice to your everyday life, I would say.
Awesome. Do you have anything you want to add to it, Ari?
Yeah, I would say that, like Cam said, like I never feel like I'm super separated from the swimmers, even though I'm a diver. I think it's been amazing to like continually get close to people that are younger than me as I'm getting older too. I think the team culture on the whole is very supportive and fun and hardworking in a way that makes you want to work harder. And people, it's a very like work hard, play hard kind of thing. Like we can like actually kill it in the weight room and in the pool, and then like get together and just like actually have so much fun. Like the people on the team are my best friends. I'm really close with my senior class, and it's a really amazing dynamic that doesn't really exist on a lot of other teams.
Awesome. Thanks, Ari. For the next question, I had Cam lined up, just asking you kind of what are the universal values of the team. But I would almost point that to all five of you, if you could just share like a couple of key values that you've seen, you've observed, you embrace, you feel are commonly shared within the team. I don't know if you want to go first, Cam.
Yeah, sure. First and foremost, I would just say respect is the first one. We're a team with different backgrounds, ethnicities, sexualities. We respect all those differences so we can have a space where everyone feels comfortable and can fully express themselves. I think that is something that everyone, like they believe in that heavily, and we try our best to maintain that so everyone has a good time through their 4 years at Tufts. I would say secondly, we all value each other's personal development, but through like a team environment. Everyone has a different measure of success. It could just be like getting good grades, making nationals, or just being a good teammate. But you know, since we have all different goals, your teammates will hold you accountable to those goals. And I feel like that kind of camaraderie that you build, pushing each other and supporting each other to attain those goals is how you grow. And that is something that I think everyone on the team really wants, is to see their friends succeed. At the same time, we're super serious about our academics and our athletics, but we're also very serious about having fun along the way. So outside the pool, we'll like have giant group dinners at DeWick, and maybe have some movie nights or board game nights at houses or people's dorms. Like people mentioned, we like to just go hit the library together with teammates to keep each other company while we study. And then like at meets, we'll hype each other up and like sing on the bus. Just the entire environment on the team is just looking to have fun while also succeeding with that.
I think that's pretty good. Thanks, Cam. I think you covered a lot. I don't know if anyone has anything to add that Cam might have missed, but I think you did a pretty good job there. Yeah. All right. So Marissa, what are two traditions on the women's team that are your favorite? We have a lot, but what are two of your favorite traditions that our women's team has?
I would say for the first tradition that we have, it's called retreat, and it's like typically in September. And the past 2 years, it's been held at an upperclassman's house, like family home, that they've offered to host all of us, and we're all very grateful for. But it's a really nice overnight bonding experience. We're all in one place. We're all together. Like this year, we sat around a campfire and all just talked and had a really nice time together and went to the beach. And the year before, we all went apple picking together. And then for the second tradition, I guess it's kind of a tradition, but I feel like we all or a lot of us typically try to go to men's NESCACs. So we'll carpool, try to get a hotel night or Airbnb, and all kind of work together to get down there and support the men's team as best as we can from the stands and cheer as loud as we can. Um, and it's really nice for the women's team to kind of be together and kind of watch all the men succeed. Um, and it's also just so nice being able to like spend time together in like super long car rides and just be able to, yeah, have that time together.
Cool. Ari, Emma, do you have a different tradition that might be a favorite of yours? Just if you could be concise about it.
I love hearts. We write like you cut out a heart of construction paper and write like a little note of positivity for every person on the women's team before their championship meet. And then I usually read mine on like the bus to the meet, and it's really fun and just like a really nice way to like build yourself up and feel like the whole team is backing you before a big meet.
It's awesome. How about you,
Yeah.
Emma? You got one?
Yeah, sorry. Similar to that, I really like how we do accountability buddies. So like if you're an underclassman, you get paired with an upperclassman and like vice versa. And like for meets, you write each other like little notes. And then for like MIT, which is like mid-season, and then our championship season, you give them like a little present, maybe like just some snacks. And for like their championships, which is either BU or NESCACs, you make them like a poster and like you're like their little like personal cheerleader. Cause like, I mean, everyone's cheering for everyone, but they just have like that one like specific person in your corner who you like become close to over the season. And I've really appreciated that and have had a good time with it. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So Eric, can you touch on maybe a couple on the men's side, a couple of events that kind of create the bond within the team, or team building events that the guys kind of get together and do, whether they're more formal events or informal events?
Yeah, so I think Cam touched on a lot of the big ones. Like we'll do like movie nights, like board game nights, like dinners at DeWick or Carm. But some of the things that I've really like enjoyed the most at my time at Tufts is like the small get-togethers that we'll have. Like people will sometimes like send out in like the group me or the Facebook like, oh, anyone want to come like play spike ball on one of the quads, and like a couple people will show up, like whoever's available. Or just like the upperclassmen are like always willing to host people for dinner, and that's like last year being a freshman, like that was a great way to feel like really welcomed into the team. And so like I've just really enjoyed like how much I've been able to like hang out with the team in different settings besides just swimming or like the big formal team events, and it really like allows you to form like pretty tight connections with like various different groups in the team, which has been great.
Nice. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Next question, Emma. If you're at a meet, like how does someone tell a tough swimmer apart? Or if you're at, a practice over the summer, like what if you're not familiar with our program, what might you notice? How do tough swimmers or divers kind of stand out in a crowd? Or what qualities do you think someone might see?
Definitely at meets, we are the team that has like whoever's in the pool. Obviously, our team is really big, but there's always at least a couple people cheering for that person swimming. And that's like not usually the case on like a lot of other teams. Like there will always be someone cheering for you. Everyone is standing up, everyone is making sure they're watching and paying attention. And it makes you feel really seen and like respected. And I think that is a really good value that we have. And definitely at practice, just like uplifting behavior and like really just no negativity is something really special that we have at practice. Because obviously like we have like tough days, tough sets, that's fine. Like you can be tired, you can be like worn down, but I feel like everyone uplifts each other and doesn't like get bogged down on the negative, like, oh, I'm really tired, oh, like this set kind of sucks, but it is always just like, oh, like we only have this amount more, like this person's killing it today, like even if I'm not having a great day. And I think that's what makes a tough swimmer like very like distinct.
Nice.
You didn't
Nice.
know our program. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. Hey Ari, like getting to the end of the question. So, you know, I know we're also getting to the end of our time, but if anyone on the Zoom has any follow-up questions that you want to ask either a specific athlete on our team or just in a general question, we may have a couple minutes for that. But Ari, just a couple of questions. I'll couple them together at the end because we've talked about both things. I think they've both been answered to a certain extent already. But what would you say is most unique about the culture of our team? And as a team, you know, what do you feel like the team is doing that makes every single team member, you know, a valued member, feel like a valued member? You know, this year we've got 30, 39, 40 women and 37 men. So, you know, big team. But I feel like, you know, everyone does feel valued. So, unique cultural aspect about the team and how everyone is feeling valued as part of the team.
Yeah, that's a big question. I think
Yeah, I know. We've talked a lot
Um,
about culture and values, so I'm not sure you might have like anything to add.
yeah. I think to add, like, as we've talked a little bit about this before, like people are so willing to work hard and working hard is like a big part of our team culture. And it also is like a thing that we do together. And I think that's a really bad way of explaining this. But I think part of what sets this team apart and what like makes this team so special is that everyone on the team really appreciates their teammates as like a whole person and not just for their swimming abilities. But like that said, we're able to like buckle down and do the work and really enjoy each other's company while doing so. Um, think what's most unique about this is so lame, such a lame answer, but every time anyone ever asks me like why I came to Tufts, why I think Tufts or the swim dive team is so special, is because of the people. And everyone I've ever asked, like, why did you come here, has always said, like, because the people. And the thing about our team is that everyone wants to be here. They want to buckle down, do the work. They want to have fun and they want to be a support system for each other. And that like is the reason that I'm here, quite literally. And it's the reason that I've continued to like work through all the like scary parts of being an athlete. And I think that's the same for a lot of other people. But yeah, I think the people, the coaching staff, the entire athletics department is so supportive and wants to be there for you. And that's like really special and really makes it like, it makes you want to go do the hard stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think, you know, something that I noticed being on this call with you all or Zoom with you all, and it's one of my favorite things as a coach to hear athletes on my team talk about their experience, especially with other people. So thank you again for being here to do it. I know we're at the end of the questions, but you know, one of the neat things, you know, I think is I'm sitting here, I listen to you all, and I don't hear you talking about winning conference titles. I don't hear you talking about executing a certain dive score, a certain type of dive, or swimming certain times, and yet you're all excelling at a really high level. You are winning titles. You are doing new dives, you are making NCAA cuts, you are all Americans, you know, but you don't really talk about that. And I think that's something that's really awesome about our team. I think we talk a lot about the relationships and the work. And I think, I don't know, would you all agree with me that in general at Tufts, people tend to not talk about kind of how great they are? They talk a lot about the work they're doing and how excited they are about it, but they're not really looking to talk about how great they are or an award they got or GPAs. You all cringed when I asked you to GPAs, you know? So I just think that speaks a lot to the school. to the team. And I don't know, I just thought I'd kind of try to pull that together, because that's something I've seen over my 19 years. That's something that's developed on our team, but in general at the school, it's something at the core of its values and its community, and active citizenship. So doesn't look like we've got anything in the chat, Coach Megan, do we? I didn't see anything pop up.
No, I
And,
haven't seen anything pop up.
Nope. And we're right about at time. So to everyone who, had the opportunity to join us live tonight, thanks for coming. If you have specific questions, feel free to reach out to me, Coach Megan, Coach Nori, to Cameron, Eric, Marissa, Ari, and Emma. Thank you so much. This was our last day of finals today, so they've just all wrapped up. Well, almost wrapped up, Ari, their final exams for this semester. So I know this isn't really a celebratory activity to jump on Zoom with me to finish up your semester, but I really enjoyed it and I really appreciate you all sharing. So thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah, with
Coach.
that, I'll just wish everybody a happy Wednesday night and a happy holiday and a happy new year, and look forward to staying in touch. And I'll look forward to seeing my team members in Florida soon and get back at it. So thanks everyone. Have a good night.